Hey guys, it's James here. So in this video, I'm going to be talking to the guys from Rubbarband, and they're going to be telling us all about their platform that helps you use Stable Diffusion and other models just like that for free on their servers. So you don't need a graphics card on your PC or an M3 Mac or whatever it is for Apple users. You can just use their servers, and it's a web interface. It's a node-based system, so it's very exciting technology. If you'd like to sign up for free access, please use the QR code on the screen, or there is a link in the description somewhere for you to sign up. All right, without further ado, let's get back to the video. Hey guys, it's James here from Rubbarband. Today we've got the crew from not Rubbarband.
We just had to hire you.
It's James here from AImode, not Rubbarband. We've got the crew from Rubbarband. Okay, so guys, you must be so busy at the moment. How are things at Rubbarband right now?
Yeah, I mean things have been great. We actually just got off of office hours, which was great. Just talking to our users and figuring out how to improve our product and service. So, it's been a lot of just building, shipping the features that we built, and then getting feedback and iterating, and tightening that iteration cycle so we could make the product really good over time.
Okay. So in today's episode, we're going to be finding out the who, what, why, when of Rubbarband. We're going to find out about the software, where the guys are taking the software, and so on. Just very quickly, do you guys just want to introduce yourselves, like your background, how you found each other, just for like 5 minutes or so?
Sure. Yeah, my name's Jeremy. I'm the CEO of Rubbarband. Prior to Rubbarband, I was a researcher at UC Berkeley. My work was primarily using diffusion models to generate music. So that was a big interest of mine as far as, my background is like also on the side, I'm a musician, so I play the piano, and I was really interested in sort of like being at the intersection of both AI and music. And
right.
Now with Rubbarband, we're able to sort of do this professionally in terms of merging the two disciplines and creating software that could ultimately create media. And so that's a little bit about my background.
Nice. What do you think of the diffusion efforts right now for music? I heard some stuff about a week ago, and I was like, whoa, that changed a lot from a month ago.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's mirroring the progress in sort of image generation. I think a lot of the technology is leveraging advancements in image generation and sort of using another like representation of music to sort of fit that into the image generation models. And so I think we'll continue, like as image generation and video generation progresses, we'll see the same sort of progression in music as well, which is really exciting.
Nice. Okay, who wants to go next?
I can go. I'm Abhi. I'm the CTO of Rubbarband. Before Rubbarband, I was also at Berkeley as a graduate student researcher, and I did a lot of work in robotics and computer vision. So I came from like that background, and super excited to be continuing to work in the image space.
Yeah. So I'm Darren. I'm the COO. And let me just talk really briefly about how we met each other. So I met Abhi in high school. And then we went to college together. We were roommates. And then I met Jeremy at orientation at college. So then we've known each other for, such a long time. And I'm really glad that we're all working together on this project. So
no, that's a really nice story that you met in school. That is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's get started on like the what then. So what is Rubbarband?
Yeah, Rubbarband's an app, and it lets users generate images in their specific style. And we let you do this using workflows. So workflows are sort of a series of steps to generate an image, and our users sort of define like the specific characteristics of the AI. So you could tell it to generate images in a specific, for example, like one of our users generated or created a workflow of Mad Max magazine. So every every image that comes out of this workflow, it looks like the aesthetic in the old Mad magazines back in the 90s and 2000s.
Yeah, I've seen it.
And
That's
so, yeah,
from Chad Leffer, I think. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So, users are able to, unlike other, services like Midjourney or just like base stable diffusion, we're able to let users like really dial in the aesthetic that they want. And they could then share these workflows to the community, and other people can really use their workflows to generate that same exact style.
So how is it? How do people use your technology then? How does it work?
Yeah, so our technology is like pretty backed in open source. So what we actually do is we bring all of the latest open source advancements, and users can hook them all together to produce images with maximum amounts of control.
Okay, so there's a few competitors. So Automatic 1111, you got Comfy UI. There's a few more. How unique are you compared to those other technologies?
Yeah, so a couple things. I guess like both Comfy and Automatic, they like are pretty difficult to get started with,
Yeah.
especially if you're not coming from like a technical background. Yeah. And we made it super easy for someone who's just really good at like images and understanding how to look at images. Those kind of people find it really easy to get set up with Rubbarband, because all they need to do is come onto our platform, and they don't need to configure any of the settings. They can just automatically drop whatever technology that they want to use in directly.
Yeah, sorry, I was going to say that I've been using Rubbarband myself, and that was one of the first things I noticed. Actually, was like, oh, was that it? That's all I had to do an image, because it's much harder than that in Comfy.
That's
so
for
yeah,
sure, yeah. And I guess like another huge difficulty that people face with Comfy and Automatic is they have to bring their own infrastructure, and we allow people to just use the existing GPUs that we have for them.
So what's your target user? Like who's going to be using Rubbarband?
Yeah, so currently our users are, creative directors and artists, graphic designers. The type of people that we're targeting are people who, prior to AI coming out, they were already creating images using another medium like illustration, or a lot of creative directors have a team of artists that they work with, and they have a specific idea in their mind as far as what they want their image or video to look like. And with AI, we're able to provide a alternative medium through which they could generate images and get their ideas to life. And also, just a funny thought, we're talking about Comfy UI and Automatic. We think that this is like a completely separate user base. There's like a post on Reddit that I recently read where it was like, I spent about a month learning Comfy UI to generate an image, and I didn't get the image I wanted, but now I'm an expert in AI. And that's not exactly what we want for our users to be an expert in. We want to just provide great tooling for people to create great artwork and get their ideas to life.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be an expert in AI to be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm just using Comfy, not in the best way, but I was really surprised at how quickly you could do like a really good image, like straight away. I was like, oh wow, I did not get that far with Comfy, but I'm more of a Midjourney guy, and I've tried Stable Diffusion, but it's been difficult, and I've gotten much further with Rubbarband than I have the other two platforms.
Yeah, so one thing that we realized was that a lot of these AI models, they're very technically hard to build, right? So then the people that built these models, they're obviously like a computer science background or machine learning background, but that doesn't really translate well into building the tooling, because they built the tooling like Automatic or Comfy. They built it for themselves as a developer, as a machine learning engineer. So we realized this problem, and then we want to take the same tooling and cater it towards a different audience. So that was like one of the key insights that we really wanted to focus and hone in on.
Yeah, I mean, especially like with Automatic 1111, it's really hard to know which thing you've got to click on and which tab you're meant to be on, and this thing looks like that. Which one of these things do I use? Yeah, it's really tricky to work that interface out. Yeah. What's been quite a big achievement for you recently? What's been the biggest improvements to the platform?
Yeah, I mean, I think we recently launched our alpha. So we have a private alpha with about we basically just have like a small set of users using our platform, and despite having a small set of users, we were able to get to 50,000 image generations, which was a big achievement. I think in an age where everyone's focused on daily active users and growth, I think for us what we want to really focus in on is like for our set of users, like how often do they use our platform and how much value do they get out of it. And despite the fact that we've intentionally curated a small set of users so that we could serve them well, like they really use our platform a lot, and that was honestly our biggest recent achievement.
This might be a no. I don't want to put the servers under any stress, but are we giving out access to alpha on this video at all? Do you want to do that?
that would be, yeah, we could definitely do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so anyone who watches it, we could reach out and give them alpha access.
Okay, great. Okay, we'll put a link somewhere in the comments or something. Okay, so where does a newbie get started then? How do they get started on the platform?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, well, as I said before, we're in alpha. We're actually hoping to open up access wider in the coming month or so. But right now, anyone who watches this could, I suppose we're going to give them a link to sign up for the alpha. So that's currently how it is. And as soon as we do a wider launch, anyone should be able to sort of sign up for the service by visiting our website.
Cool. Okay. There might be a QR code or something on the screen. I'll sort that out. How does your platform? How is it different from Comfy, Automatic, Midjourney, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so for Comfy and Automatic, I guess we talked a little bit about that already, which is like extremely easy to get started with our platform. And you do have access to all those super intricate technologies that are coming out every single month or so. And one of the biggest differences between us and those other platforms like Midjourney is we allow users to create these workflows that are really, really good for repeatable types of aesthetics and types of vibes. So Jeremy pointed out that Mad Max workflow by Chad. That was a really good example because the best feedback that we got from our users about Rubbrband is that when they create a workflow, they absolutely love the product because they can keep using that workflow again and again repeatedly over a long term and produce a series of images that relate very well.
Yeah, I'd just like to hone in on the reproducibility part, which is you might have seen, some nice AI generated images on like Reddit or even on Twitter, but you have no way of reproducing these images. Like you might think, oh, hey, that's a really, really nice image. I want to do something like that, but guess what? You can't, right? So that's really the point that we want to bring to our product, which is that you can create these repeatable and reproducible images, and you can modify them slightly and tune it to whatever aesthetic or even add or subtract from the image.
I think I did one image reference. Could you talk more about that? For replicating things that, for example, you might see on Twitter or Reddit.
Oh yeah, sure. So we have a image reference node that you could use to basically take an image off the internet or some art piece that you'd want your workflow to generate similarly to. And so, for example, if I wanted to create a workflow that was generating images similar to the style of Picasso, for example, you could download an image or two of Picasso's works and just upload that to the reference image node, and your workflow will now generate images that look at those two reference images, and it'll sort of match the vibe or aesthetic of those two images. And that's really useful because like without using image references, you might need to prompt really detailed as far as like, oh, I needed to like have like patches or really like, I don't know how to even describe Picasso's works in words. So reference images really let you to dial in this aesthetic without having to describe that all in words.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about using image references is that there's only so much you can type out, and as the saying goes, an image is worth 1,000 words, and I think your image prompts are much better than something that you could write. But on the flip side of that, there isn't the control that you have with the written prompts.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a balance there where, prompts are like sort of a representation of what you have in your head.
Yeah.
And you need sort of like the essence of that, whether it be like the subject and the action and what the person is doing in the image. But a lot of the style, the aesthetic, the vibe, these types of things are easier to represent through an image. And so letting users sort of have control over that's something that we do really well, I think.
Yeah.
And it's actually interesting that you bring up the controllability aspect over image references, because one huge difference between Rubbrband and a company like Midjourney is you can use actually the technologies under the hood that will allow you to control those images far better than you would in Midjourney. For example, we have this technology called ControlNet, where you can kind of give a base image and you can say, use all of the exact same edges that exist in this image, except apply the style from this picture, and we can do that perfectly for you.
Can you talk more about how you can use ControlNet? Like, I've used ControlNet in Comfy, but what other ways are you utilizing ControlNet?
Yeah, so ControlNet is super interesting right now for a bunch of different use cases. One of them that we are seeing our customers use right now is actually style transfers. So if you have a certain image of yourself, you can change the style entirely by using a different image reference along with the ControlNet. You might have seen that Guido, one of our users, recently switched his profile pictures. He did that entirely using ControlNet with an initial image.
Was that the one with all the cameras? Is it that one?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know that one.
And
nice.
Another thing I'm super excited about that will be coming soon is you can actually also use ControlNet on top of video. So what that means is you might have like a video of me dancing, and you might be able to change that into a totally different character doing the exact same.
Have you got that video?
I don't think I want to share any videos of me dancing publicly, but
yeah, put it on TikTok.
I'll put it up.
That's great. Yeah, I love, again, the thing is with ControlNet, I haven't tried it on Rubbarband yet because I've only just started working out how to do the images properly. But that was always a trouble with Comfy UI, and that's the reason why I was using Comfy, because I didn't want to go there for images. I just wanted to do video, and I found it so hard just to work out the workflow, and also that people aren't really sharing workflows either. Like the best work, people aren't sharing it much. Okay, so the next one is, what challenges have you faced in the development of your AI models, and how have you addressed them?
Yeah, so we support all the open source models, and we also support closed source models if they have an API. So that way we bring all of these models together on our platform, and you can link them together to train very, very highly controlled images. So that's really what sets us apart from the other model providers, because if you go to like Midjourney, for instance, you can only use like V6 or V5, but you can only use Midjourney models. Or if you go to DALL-E, you can only use the DALL-E models. So that's the real benefit that we provide on our platform.
So when you're talking about closed source, yeah, I was just saying. So when you're talking about closed source, are you talking about Midjourney as a closed source? Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Right now, what we have on Rubbarband's side is we are implementing DALL-E because Midjourney doesn't have like their API out yet.
Ah, right, yeah, okay. Unless it's enterprise or something. I don't know. I tried doing some research on it a few months back for making bots, but yeah, I couldn't work it out. Okay, so what strategies do you implement for sustainable growth?
Yeah, so our philosophy internally is that we think that the best strategy for sustainable growth is just to create like the best possible product. You see a lot of companies, at scale, implement, dark patterns, which like are basically things in the product that, drive users to some action that like you see that with YouTube algorithms and making it more and more addictive. And I think one thing about that is that while it may lead to, more growth, users do recognize that. Like users aren't stupid. Everyone knows that, TikTok is really toxic, and users get tired of these dark patterns that, ultimately drive engagement up, but like customer satisfaction down. And what we want to do at Rubbarband is just to create the best possible product, make the most useful product. And we think that's like sort of the best avenue for which we could really grow as a company.
Okay. Okay. So, how do you make sure your AI tools are accessible and user friendly?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think a major problem in the AI space, I think that Darren actually touched on this, is that like just due to the rapid rate of change, like every week it seems like there's like a new AI tool coming out. Like you get, first of all, it's great because you get a lot of new technology, but it's also really disjointed. There's just so much tooling out there, and you don't know exactly what's useful or what's just noise or what to even like look for, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So and that's like a problem that we have as well. And so the way we sort of make sure that our tools are really, accessible is that we try to like start at the customer experience. We start with the user. So our users, as I mentioned before, are creative directors, artists. We start with what they want to do, which is ultimately create great images consistently. And we try to, hold a really close dialogue with our users, figure out what we want, and we then work backwards to the technology. So we make sure we sort of draw out an interface that ultimately serves our users' needs. For example, like if they want to create a consistent style and they only have an image, that's what led us to create the style reference node. So we're always working backwards to the product instead of trying to fit or shoehorn the technology into the product, into the customer.
Yeah, I mean, even if you were just going for a consistent style, it's the way your node-based system works. It's really easy to just change an image, and just even if you're still in experimentation mode, you can just like prototype images like really fast. So yeah, that's something else I like about the platform. Yeah, that's the thing about noise in the industry. It's so difficult for me to jump on every platform that comes along. I mean, all the new video generators at the moment, I haven't really been using them that much because I'm just waiting to see, are they going to be any good? Because they're so young at the moment, and there's so many. I just don't want to jump on quickly. If it's going to be a hard routine to get into it, like a comfy. So that's why it's difficult to choose which one to start on. Yeah. How are you measuring success with your platform?
Yeah, so you might see on like Twitter or LinkedIn, a lot of these new AI models, they perform really, really well in some leaderboard or some benchmark, but that's not really how we measure success here, because these are technical indicators or technical metrics of success, right? Because these were created by some data scientists, and they measure relative success between two different models. So we use like really basic traditional measures of success, which is how much time does our user save using our product, how much money do they save, and how much they like the product, right? So these things really, we think, are the actual measurements of success, because you might see a lot of other companies, they try to measure success different ways, but we think that those are probably not the best ways.
Yeah, and also regarding like these eval metrics for AI, I mean, there's a lot of focus on eval for like LLMs. Like how do you know if GPT-4 is better than GPT-3? Like they try to measure that using some numeric score.
Oh, the benchmarks, yeah.
Yeah, the benchmarks. I mean, I'd argue that the benchmarks are even more, or even harder to create for image generation, just because like, how do you know if an image is like given two images, like which one's better?
Yeah,
It's like a lot of times like purely subjective. Um, one metric could just be like trying to. There just is no good metric for comparing two images, and so like Darren said, we're trying to, instead of measuring quality of images or anything like that, we're just trying to ultimately measure how much users use and love our platform.
Okay, so we've talked about I guess you could say noise in the industry and the abundance of other platforms. How alarm's going off. How do you keep up with the pace of all the technology that's out there right now?
Yeah, I mean, one way maybe we think about it is that while we're on Twitter like everyone else, so we do see all of the advancements, but we try to do a really good job of filtering signal and noise, and the only way to do that is starting at the customer experience and then figuring out like if a new launch or a new model that comes out that actually like has a tangible impact on the customer. So for example, a lot of our users have asked for image generation models that could produce text in the image. Up until now, Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, Dolly, they've been pretty bad at generating text. Like if you prompt it for a sign that says dog on it, it would just write some gibberish on the image. And so in the last 2 months, Stable Diffusion 3 came out, which is a model that supposedly is very good at generating text. Like it hasn't been launched just yet, but that's an example of a new advancement that really caught our eye, and it's because it ultimately serves a feature request from our users. And so that's sort of the heuristic that we use to make sure that something that comes out is actually important to us and is something that we should think about.
Yeah, the text thing was Stable. Am I right in saying that wasn't intentional? That was just the larger data set that led to the accurate text rendering? I don't know. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so how these models are trained is that there is essentially a large data set of images as well as a corresponding prompt. And so the model then learns how to go from prompt to image. And the reason why up until now the image generation models are bad at generating text was because in the training set, the prompt did not actually have the text that was in the image. And so with Stable Diffusion 3, what they did was, I believe they captioned the image in the training set with the exact text that was also in the image.
Ah, right. Okay, yeah. Okay, so can you discuss some kind of recent innovation that you've had in the business, and where is it taking you guys?
Yeah, I think like one thing that we've recently done that was super cool is we did a complete overhaul of our backend infrastructure. And the reason that was so good is because we actually cut down average generation times by like about 3 times the amount that they used to be. And we felt the impact immediately from our users directly, because all of them reached out to us and they were like, "Oh, what did you guys think? Like, what just happened?"
Yeah.
And the greatest thing about this is like at the end of that day, like the day we launched it, we saw the number of images produced like jump a lot too. So it was like, that definitely was a pretty good achievement for us.
Well, sorry for all the people that use it right now, but I think there's about 100 more people going to join the platform soon. So I don't know how will you be able to keep up?
Yeah, so we're also like super focused on getting generation times down, because this concept of having user perceived latency be as low as possible is already a very well researched field. Both Google and Meta, they've done tons of studies, tons of A/B tests, where they found that if you add some unperceivable amount of latency, like 100 milliseconds, so 1/10 of a second, that actually impacts the number of users that use their product, right? So in their controlled study they added 100 milliseconds, they found that the treatment group actually used the product less, right? So I think that
Yeah.
for these AI products, we really need to get back to that, very fast generation times, which means that like getting latency down to like as like less as possible, like ideally less than a second. So that really allows the users to be a lot more creative. They can experiment with more ideas, and that's basically the path that we're going on to.
So you touched on technology and backend. Can you talk about the types of servers you're using, or any of the technology that's powering your platform?
Yeah, so we host all of these models on our servers. We run them in the cloud. So yeah.
Can you tell us any more about like
cloud.
which chips they're using, or GPUs, or anything like that? Or do you want to? Or do you not want to go there?
We're using. Yeah, we're using a lot of basically the cutting edge GPUs. We're using the Ampere version GPUs. There's another one called the Ada Lovelace GPUs. We haven't had access to the Hopper GPUs because they're out of stock everywhere. So
it's expensive. Yeah,
we're looking to get our hands on those ones too.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, let me see what's the next question. Okay, so you do office hours quite a bit. I'm often in them myself. Like, how are you dealing with the feedback from the customers? How is that improving the platform?
Well, we have office hours every week, so one of the things that we really prioritize is like a really fast iteration cycle. So just improving, going from feedback to actually implementing the feedback as quick as possible, and having these office hours every week really, like, it's a huge fire under our ass in terms of just like making sure that by next office hours we've implemented a lot of things that people asked us to in one office hour. So office hours is about an hour. We give some demos during office hours, but we also set aside some time to get people's feedback from the last week as far as problems or anything that we can improve about it. And then by next office hours, we try to incorporate all of the feature requests.
Yeah, Adobe actually have feature requests on their website. I haven't looked for that on your site yet. Do you have anything like that right now, or are you thinking about something like that?
That'd be a good feature. We have a Discord channel where we have a Discord feature requests channel where people put their complaints or anything we can improve about it. But I think it's also a good idea to put it on the website. So
yeah, because the way Adobe do it, they have like a voting thing, and you can see what's the most voted for feature that you want in Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever. So yeah, useful. Okay, so last one then. So how do you foster innovation within the company?
We one thing that we try to do is sort of like we're really young. We're in our mid-20s right now. Actually, Avi's in his early 20s.
Oh my god, you are so successful at this age. At your age, I was still partying.
So we're basically kids, and one thing we try to do is just to have as much fun as possible and try to create the most fun possible experience. And that I think that's a big competitive advantage we have compared to larger companies who have a lot of internal processes. Have to make sure that the features they ship are like really tangibly impacting KPIs and all these numbers. But at the end of the day, like what we try to do, and one thing we're really in touch with is like what's cool, what's fun, what people are really like to do. And I think that's a really powerful thing for us, advantage that we have as far as fostering innovation, because a lot of the innovations that have happened over the last, maybe throughout human history have just been things that are interesting and things that people find fun and exciting. And that's something that we try to hone in on and try to take advantage of.
Well, I mean, I've got a personal question actually, which is like, where do you see the future of prompting? Like, so we've basically just gone from like text to now you can prompt with an image. Where have you got any other ideas of where things might go? Or can you not say yet?
Yeah.
Is that in-house? Is that in-house?
Well, actually, so recently we launched a new prompt bar feature, which is basically we're thinking a lot about how to prompt. Right now, sort of the state of the art in prompting is basically just typing in what's in your head. But the prompt bar, and we're hoping we have some ideas on how to improve this, but the prompt bar is essentially like a co-pilot. So say you type in, usually what people have in their head is like a subject and action, like a man on a bicycle riding on the beach maybe. And with AI, you're able to transform that into a specific style, or maybe morph it into something maybe you didn't even imagine. And so with the prompt bar, you could like type a slash key in, and it'll give you a bunch of suggestions on how to morph this prompt.
Oh, that sounds like an autocomplete. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
I think, yeah, that sort of is the direction that we want to head into it, where like a user has like a half complete idea in their head for what they want their image to look like. And so how do we get them to fully complete idea in their head? And so providing features that, help morph the prompt and help them go into directions that maybe they didn't even know about. That's, I think, ultimately the direction that prompting is going into.
I don't think I've seen that, actually. I don't think I've seen autocomplete in like a Mid-Journey or something like that, unless I'm missing something. That sounds pretty new. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're as far as like prompting and image generation, I think we're pretty close to the cutting edge, and a lot of these ideas we're coming up with are sort of based in the problems that we have using Midjourney and all these services. So yeah, we're pretty excited about these new features. We're excited to launch them.
Yeah, so am I. I can't wait to see where you take things, what you do to the interface, and yeah, it's what an exciting time we live in right now. There's so much change and development happening. Yeah, it's a really exciting space. Okay, guys, thanks for coming on AImode. It's been really fascinating listening to you talk about the business and where you're taking things and all the technology involved. So yeah, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, James.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Shane.